All right, let's talk about Quentin Johnston, who had a bizarre first game in the NFL, to say the least. One of the more bizarre first games that I'm talking about this week. As, in some ways it was very good. In some ways it was abysmal. And it kind of comes down to actually opinion more so than fact here. So let's talk about what happened, what the facts are, and then we'll get into what my opinion on all of it means. So let's start off with this one. Okay. Simple enough. It's a 3rd down and 12. You're going to try and see if you can get Johnston open past the first down marker here. The defender who I have circled, that is the defender who will be covering Johnston on this play and who will potentially be in the way to, knock a pass away if that opportunity presents itself. Right when this play begins, the ball is snapped and Johnston is going to get past the first down marker, and you see right here, there's a bit of a window. I mean, Johnston's a big guy. He can kind of box out the defender who's working on him, so there's definitely an opportunity here for him to make a play. Look, it was a well-thrown ball. He, went back to it pretty well, and he looks like he just dropped it. They never showed a better angle than this, so it's possible the defender got his hand in there and knocked it away, but to me, it looks like he just dropped it, which is, it's not good, right? I mean, part of the criticism of Johnston coming out of college was that he didn't have the best hands, and so the fact that he dropped this one, not ideal. And then going over here, I mean, at some point, he just got in his own head. That's just what happened. Because, again, in some ways, this is a great play where it's going to be a one-on-one matchup on the outside. That's what's eventually going to happen here. So, okay, this is why I had Johnston as my number 1 wide receiver coming out of the draft class, because I felt like he's the one guy who I legitimately trust to win on the outside. A lot of the other receivers, very good, but mostly slot guys. Johnston consistently won on the outside in college. Well, let's see if he can do it here. Watch how when this play begins, it's really going to be, he kind of just going to blow by the corner he's going up against. They didn't really do much of a move, but still is able to get by him. I mean, this is a throw, they're making a throw in this direction, and that should be the throw, because, there's an open window here. And as you see, Johnston, drops the football. I mean, that's just what happened. The defender did not get his hand in and knock it away. He, touched Johnston a little bit, but you still got to make that catch. Now, I will say, it's maybe a bit more of a difficult catch than it looks like, just because the ones thrown directly over your head are always kind of hard. You can't really track the ball the way you would like to, so it's maybe a little bit tougher and a little bit more understandable, and if this just happened once, maybe it wouldn't even be worth bringing up in a video, although with the small sample size in preseason, that probably still would have, but wouldn't have been making a big deal out of it, but the fact that it keeps happening is an issue. Like, this one's another example where, I mean, you see that it's just, he just dropped it. And that time, it almost looked like he wasn't even trying to catch it. I don't really get what happened there. That was just weird. And, I don't know. I just think he got in his own head. That has to be what happened, right? He got into his own head with all these drops and then was dropping everything. And it felt like at a certain point, the quarterback throwing to him just said, you know what, hey, I'm trying to, make a name for myself here. I got to get the ball down the field. And if you're going to drop everything and go through that, that's fine. But, I got to figure out my own stuff. Again, as a whole, there's 2 ways you could take this. The first of which is to say this is a disaster. He's dropping everything, and that was an issue of his in college, although usually it was more about he doesn't make the tough catches and isn't a great contested catch guy, then he just drops everything. But still, it was an issue in college, and it's really showing its ugly head. The other side is that he is getting open. This play is a great example where he's not going to get the ball in this scenario. So, that's something worth noting. The route that you see on the screen, that is the guy who's going to eventually get the ball. That's not what Johnston is doing. It's a cover 1-man play. That is Johnston's route here, which is, okay, one-on-one matchup on the outside once again. Right when this play begins, you're going to see that, he does a really good job of that route running. That was a brutal move, really, to the corner. It has completely gotten himself out of position at this point. Now, there is a safety on that side of the field. The safety is getting over there to now cover Johnston, so I'm not sure how open it would have been, but it's a great move. Like I said, ball went somewhere else. It was still complete, so good job there. But, for Johnston, these are the kind of things that get you excited. And the reality is, if the ball just never went in his direction, or every ball thrown in his direction was just a horrible misfire, we would be looking at this saying this was an awesome performance by him. Because really, the only thing he did poorly was the catching the ball part. Well, he did have, he still had a couple of catches. He actually, he had a touchdown in this game. This was another play that I liked, which was, underneath route on this 3rd down and 3. Okay, simple enough. Right when this play begins, what's interesting about this play is the linebacker is going to try to create some contact right here. Push Johnston out of the way, slow him down, and I really like how Johnston's going to fight through this. Watch how you see when the contact is made, he's able to keep going, and he still is able to go forward and pick up the 1st down. So again, and there were other good plays. Like I said, he had a couple other catches. Like, this was not a disastrous performance from Johnston whatsoever, just an incredibly strange one. When I think of comparable situations to Johnston, the one that just has to jump out is Ja'Marr Chase. If you've forgotten or maybe just don't pay attention to preseason too much, Ja'Marr Chase came into the league, obviously very hyped up, drafted 5th overall, in the preseason, just started dropping passes left and right. Obviously, it has not turned out to be that big of a deal. Now, one, I think, important distinction to make is that Ja'Marr Chase did not have no one was complaining about his hands coming out of college. That just wasn't a complaint you heard from people. So I do wonder if, I think that changed stuff a little bit. It does make you a little bit worried, but listen, I can make those catches, right? Anyone can catch a football. I'm not saying I would get open. I wouldn't. But if I just had to do the catching part, I could do it. He can catch a football, right? That's what I'm trying to say. He can catch a football. I wouldn't sit here and say that it's going to be a disaster. Is it disappointing? Sure. And obviously you don't want someone to get the yips, but it happens. I mean, Mike Evans had a year where he was dropping everything in sight. He's turned out okay, right? Sometimes you do go through these stretches, and, we've seen it happen. I've never seen it really happen where a guy, consistently gets open, but isn't a good player because they can't catch the football. The closest I could think would probably be Nelson Aguilar, but he didn't consistently get open. He got open some and then just had some drop issues as well. If Quentin Johnston is getting open as often in the regular season as he was in this game, the guy's going to be a superstar. He was constantly open in this game and at times uncoverable by whoever the Rams were throwing at him. Now, also worth mentioning, Rams, not exactly the best secondary. Got some issues there, especially some depth issues. So maybe that's also a factor for sure. But am I concerned about the drops? It's impossible to say no outright, but I'm not massively concerned because drops are something that is fluky. I hope that he isn't in his own head too much. Again, that last drop where it kind of looked like he just swatted his hand out, that was just weird. I don't get what happened there, what he was thinking there. But the other stuff I think is very good. And like I said, he did make some catches as well. He did do some things as well. So some negatives for sure, but I'm not freaking out about those negatives, and I'm very excited about the positives. Again, if he made those 3 catches that I showed you that were drops, we'd legitimately be talking about him as, oh my God, this guy is going to be the next, Ja'Marr Chase. Look at how great this is. And hey, I guess if you're trying to be the next Ja'Marr Chase, maybe the right path is to be dropping everything in sight to begin. I don't know. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Quentin Johnston's first NFL game. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.